Hey everyone, welcome back to Receipts Ready. This story had me absolutely shook. I, 32F, thought I was finally getting the promotion I'd been working toward for 3 years. But then I discovered my mentor was secretly training my replacement. And that replacement? My own younger sister. I know this sounds like something out of a soap opera, but I swear this actually happened to me. Let me give you some background so you understand just how twisted this whole situation is. I work at a marketing firm downtown. My mentor, David, 45M, has been grooming me for a senior director position for the past year. He kept telling me I was his top choice, that the job was basically mine, just had to wait for the official opening. My sister Emma, 28F, graduated college 4 years after me because she kept switching majors. She's always been the golden child in our family, even though I'm the one who got my life together first. When she finally graduated with her marketing degree last year, I actually helped her get an entry-level job at a different company. Everything seemed normal until about 2 months ago. David started acting weird around me. He'd cut our mentoring session short, seemed distracted during meetings, and stopped giving me those inside tips about company politics that he used to share. Then I noticed Emma was being super secretive about work stuff. She'd get these mysterious phone calls and step out of the room. When I asked about her job, she'd just say things were going really well and change the subject. The first red flag was when I saw David at a coffee shop near Emma's office. But that was just the beginning. So, I decided to do some digging because something felt really off. The coffee shop thing could have been a coincidence, but my gut was telling me otherwise. I started paying closer attention to David's schedule. He'd been taking a lot of long lunches lately and being vague about where he was going. When I asked his assistant about it, she just said he was doing external meetings for a special project. Then Emma started posting these professional development posts on social media. Pictures of notebooks with business strategy stuff written in them, posts about learning advanced marketing techniques. She'd never been that serious about professional development before. The second red flag was when she accidentally mentioned something about our company's internal restructuring plans. Plans that weren't public knowledge. When I asked how she knew about that, she got flustered and said she must have heard it somewhere else. But here's where it gets really insane. Last week I was working late and decided to grab dinner at this restaurant downtown. And there they were. David and Emma. Sitting at a corner table with papers spread everywhere, clearly in some kind of intensive training session. I hid behind a pillar and watched them for like 20 minutes. He was showing her organizational charts, going through what looked like company policies, and she was taking notes like crazy. This wasn't a casual dinner. This was a full-blown coaching session. I felt sick to my stomach. My own mentor was training my own sister for what had to be my job. But I needed proof before I could do anything about it. That's when I decided to follow Emma. So, the next day, I called in sick and parked outside Emma's apartment. I know this sounds crazy, but I had to know what was going on. Around 10 in the morning, she came out dressed way more professionally than her usual job required. I followed her, and guess where she went? Straight to my office building. I watched from across the street as she walked in like she owned the place. She was in there for 3 hours. 3 hours in the building where I work while I was supposedly sick at home. When she came out, she was carrying a folder and looked really excited. She immediately got on her phone and I could tell she was having an animated conversation with someone. I was so angry I could barely think straight. But instead of confronting her right then, I decided to gather more evidence. I needed to catch them both red-handed. So I started checking David's calendar more carefully. His assistant usually leaves it open on her computer screen, and I noticed he had blocked out time every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon for something called special project consultation. This Tuesday, I told everyone I had a dentist appointment and left early. But instead of going home, I sat in my car in the parking garage and waited. Sure enough, around 2 o'clock, Emma showed up. She walked into that building like she belonged there. And this time, I decided to follow her inside. I snuck up to the floor where David's office is and hid in the copy room across from his door. Through the glass walls, I could see everything. David was showing Emma PowerPoint presentations, giving her what looked like policy manuals, and they were role-playing interview scenarios. My interview scenarios. The same exact questions he'd been prepping me with for months. But that wasn't even the worst part. So, while I'm watching this betrayal unfold, I decided to record some of it on my phone. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but the visual evidence was pretty damning. Then David's assistant came back from lunch early and almost caught me hiding in the copy room. I had to pretend I was making copies for a project, but my hands were shaking so bad I could barely work the machine. That evening, Emma called me like nothing had happened. She was going on about her day at her job, asking about my dentist appointment, acting like the perfect supportive sister. The fake concern in her voice made me want to scream. But here's where I really lost it. She started asking me specific questions about my promotion timeline. When did I think the position would be officially posted? Had David given me any updates recently? What kind of interview process was I expecting? She was literally gathering intelligence from me to use against me. My own sister was playing spy to steal my job. I managed to get through the call without losing my temper, but as soon as I hung up, I started planning my next move. I needed more concrete evidence before I could expose this whole scheme. The next morning at work, I went straight to HR and asked about the status of the senior director position. They told me the job posting would go live next week, but they already had several strong internal and external candidates lined up for interviews. External candidates. That's when it all clicked. David wasn't just training Emma as my replacement. He was setting her up as an external hire so it wouldn't look like obvious favoritism. Realized I had been completely played. And I was not going down without a fight. So I decided it was time for the nuclear option. I was going to confront them both, but I needed the perfect moment when I could catch them together with undeniable evidence. That Thursday, I pretended to leave work early again, but this time I came back with a plan. I knew they'd be having another training session, and I was ready to walk in on them. I got back to the office around 3 and took the elevator straight to David's floor. Through his glass office walls, I could see Emma sitting across from his desk with a stack of papers, and David was pointing at what looked like an organizational chart. I took a deep breath and knocked on his door. The look of absolute panic on both their faces when they saw me was priceless. Emma literally dropped the papers she was holding, and David started scrambling to shove documents into his desk drawer. I walked in and said I needed to discuss something urgent about my upcoming promotion interview. The silence in that room was deafening. Emma tried to play it off like she was just visiting David to ask about potential opportunities at our company. David tried to back up her story, saying he was just giving her some general career advice. But I wasn't buying any of it. I told them I knew exactly what was going on, that I'd seen them together multiple times, and that I had evidence of their secret training sessions. That's when Emma finally cracked. She started crying and saying she never meant for it to happen this way, that David had reached out to her first, and that she thought there might be multiple senior positions opening up. David tried to do damage control by saying he was just trying to help our family by giving Emma some professional development opportunities. But I wasn't having any of it. I told them both that I was going straight to HR and that they could explain their story to them. So I marched straight down to HR with screenshots of Emma entering our building, photos of their dinner meeting, and a detailed timeline of everything I'd witnessed. I laid out the whole conspiracy for them. The HR director was absolutely horrified. Apparently, mentors training external candidates without disclosure is a huge ethics violation, especially when they're supposed to be mentoring an internal candidate for the same position. They launched an immediate investigation. Within 2 days, David was suspended pending a full review of his conduct. They also removed him from any involvement in the hiring process for my position. Emma tried calling me nonstop, but I wasn't ready to talk to her. She left these long voicemails about how sorry she was and how she got caught up in an opportunity that felt too good to pass up. She claimed David convinced her that I wasn't really interested in the promotion anymore. The best part: the company ended up fast-tracking my promotion as an apology for the whole mess. They gave me the senior director position without even making me go through the formal interview process. David was ultimately fired for ethics violations and breach of company policy. Emma's application was obviously rejected, and word got around the industry about what happened, so her job search hasn't been going well. Our family is still a mess. My parents keep trying to get us to reconcile, saying Emma made a mistake, but she's still my sister. But honestly, the level of betrayal here goes way beyond a simple mistake. I'm in my new role now and loving it, but I definitely learned some hard lessons about trust and keeping my professional life separate from family. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who can hurt you the most. I cannot believe the audacity of both of them. Like, who does that to their own family member? But I'm so glad the company did the right thing and she got that promotion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for being here.